In the shadow of the Colosseum, where the roar of the crowd once echoed through the streets of Rome, lies a world of power, betrayal, and ambition. The Roman Empire, a civilization that once spanned from Britain to Syria, was not just a tale of grandeur and conquest, but also of human drama that shaped the course of history. Today, we're going to uncover some of the most gripping stories from the Roman Empire, stories that reveal the fragile line between triumph and tragedy. It all began with a man named Julius Caesar, a name that would become synonymous with power. But before Caesar became the dictator of Rome, he was just another politician climbing the dangerous ladder of Roman politics. His rise was nothing short of meteoric. He formed the first triumvirate with Pompey and Crassus, but as the saying goes, when you climb a ladder, you must be prepared to fall. Caesar's ambition would eventually lead to his downfall, but not before he changed the course of Roman history. Caesar's story is one of betrayal. You see, he was not just a general or a politician. He was a man who crossed the Rubicon River with his legions, defying the Roman Senate and sparking a civil war. His famous last words, Veni, Vidi, Vici, I came, I saw, I conquered, are etched into history, but so is the betrayal that followed. On the Ides of March 44 BCE, Caesar was stabbed to death by his own senators, men he had trusted, men he had called friends. The Roman Senate, fearing his growing power, conspired against him in a brutal act of betrayal that would haunt Rome for centuries. But Caesar's death was not the end of the story. His adopted son, Octavian, would go on to become Augustus, the first emperor of Rome. Yet, the legacy of Caesar's betrayal lingered, a reminder of the cost of unchecked ambition. The Roman Empire was born from the ashes of the Republic, but it was also an empire built on blood and betrayal. Now, let's fast forward to one of the most infamous emperors in Roman history, Caligula. His name has become a synonym for madness and tyranny. But what really happened during his reign? Caligula began his rule with promise. He was young, charismatic, and the people loved him. He even went so far as to grant citizenship to many and reduce taxes. But power can corrupt, and in Caligula's case, it did. He became known for his extravagance, his paranoia, and his brutal executions. But there's a lesser-known side to Caligula's story. Did you know that he was once a beloved leader? His early reign was marked by generosity and reform. But as time went on, Caligula's behavior became increasingly erratic. He reportedly declared himself a living god, and his actions became more and more tyrannical. His reign ended in bloodshed, as he was assassinated by a conspiracy involving members of his own Praetorian Guard. His body was left in the street, a grim end to a man who once had the world at his feet. Now, let's talk about Nero, another emperor whose name is synonymous with tyranny. Nero's reign began with promise, but it ended in disaster. He is famously known for fiddling while Rome burned. But the truth behind that story is more complex. Nero was a man of the arts, a poet and a musician, but his reign was also marked by tyranny and persecution. After the Great Fire of Rome in 64 CE, Nero blamed the Christians for the disaster, leading to one of the first great persecutions of the early Christian church. But Nero's story takes a darker turn. He was known for his cruelty, even ordering the deaths of his own family members. His mother, Agrippina the Younger, was stabbed to death by his orders. Nero's reign ended in shame and defeat. As the Roman Senate declared him an enemy of the state, Nero took his own life, ending the Julio-Claudian dynasty and plunging Rome into civil war. His final words, "What an artist dies in me." But the Roman Empire didn't end with Nero. It continued for centuries, and one of its most fascinating stories involves an emperor named Commodus. Commodus was the son of Marcus Aurelius, one of the greatest emperors Rome ever knew. But Commodus was nothing like his father. He was vain, reckless, and power-hungry. His reign marked the beginning of the end of the Pax Romana, the Roman peace. Commodus's story is one of tragedy and absurdity. He was a self-proclaimed god king who insisted on being worshipped as Hercules. He even went so far as to rename Rome after himself. His reign was marked by corruption, mismanagement, and brutality. But what's perhaps most astonishing is that he became a gladiator, fighting in the Colosseum for the entertainment of the masses. His behavior became increasingly erratic, and his reign ended in a way that would have been fitting for a Shakespearean tragedy. In the end, it was not the barbarian hordes or the decline of Roman power that destroyed the empire, but the very system that had once made it so strong. The Roman Empire was a story of human ambition, a story of power and corruption, a story of the best and worst of humanity. From the rise of Caesar to the fall of Commodus, the Roman Empire was a stage where the drama of human nature played out in epic proportions. So the next time you think of Rome, remember that behind the grandeur and the glory, there were real people, with real ambitions, real fears, and real flaws. The Roman Empire was not just a civilization. It was a mere